Hey guys, it's David here, and it's currently day 230. Hope you guys had a good weekend, and I do hope you guys are doing better than yesterday. Time is currently 6:03, so Sunday today. That means we have self-reflection. So let me get my ass off this bed and take a shower and start this day. Because even though it's Sunday, we can't lose steam. We can't lose momentum. We still gotta keep on pushing. Well, you don't have to push if you enjoy your work. And quite honestly, I enjoy what I do. So I'm gonna get ready now and I'll catch up with you guys in a few minutes. But I guess today I also want to talk about let me shout out because I know I want to talk about something, but I can't remember at the moment. So I'll catch up with you guys in a few minutes.
So guys, the time is currently 11:05 and I look like an absolute mess, but I just finished my first 3-hour work block. A bit daunting, a bit tedious, but at the end of the day, I still completed it, which is super important. But today I want to talk about how we can get over the feeling of doubt, right? Doubt, in my opinion, is the killer of all potential. If you have doubt and you are surrounded by doubt throughout the day, then you're not going to act, right? You're not going to act because you feel like you can't do it. So, what kills potential isn't action alone, but the reason why we don't act, which is the doubt, the fear of rejection, the fear of what if I'm not good enough, the fear of what could happen. Like there's a million things that could happen, which might not happen, but it's so real because we make it as that. We think to ourselves constantly, making these scenarios, these worst case scenarios, as to what would happen if we give it a try. And a lot of the time, guys, it actually isn't the hard work that pulls us out. It is the fear beforehand. We talk ourselves out before we even act. So it isn't really the task that was hard or that we couldn't do in the first place, but it's the thing we tell ourselves that we somehow convince us that we're not going to be good anyways, so why even give it a try? So, doubt, as you guys may know, can be extremely deadly for you to just be consistent and just start any project, start the business you want, go approach the lady you want, or just do something more with your life than where you are now. And doubt and fear definitely are the emotions that are holding us back from doing that. So, exactly what I had done to overcome doubt and fear is that I haven't, right? Doubt and fear isn't something you guys can just brush away, but there certainly are steps you guys can take to minimize it, to shut that emotions off in the moment so you can actually move forward and be productive. And one of the things I learned, well, there are many things that actually contributes to you overcoming this fear and doubt. But the first thing that helped me is actually having a belief that I actually am better than now. And that belief comes with convincing myself, self-conscious mind, so that I am no longer thinking in a negative state. So we have programmed for a long time to think negative, to think of fear and doubt. It's like a natural defense mechanism to stop us from taking risk. So we have to really reprogram this. And the only way to do this is actually start saying the things opposite you have been saying to yourself. So, for the longest amount of years, if you have been doubtful, fearful, then you have to be positive. You have to think positive and you have to think grateful and you have to understand that your situation right now is extremely blessed. So, stop thinking about all the negatives and what if that could happen because those what ifs are only imaginary. And the thing is, we tend to make things worse in our imaginary than reality. And the chances are reality is actually much easier, much simpler, and less scary if we just face it. But the first step is to actually reprogram our mind to think positive. Because there's only one emotion that I had learned that could surface and stay in our subconscious mind. So whether that's a positive emotion or a negative emotion, that is something you can pick. But just understand two emotions cannot stay together at once. It is physically and mentally impossible. Now you guys may think, well, it is possible because one moment I'm afraid and one moment I feel like I have hope. Well, you're basically defining that two emotions are there separately, because you cannot experience hope and fear at the same time. It is mentally impossible. You can have moments of shifts between each other, but you can't mentally have both emotions feeling at the same time. So the best way then is to minimize the feelings of doubt and fear, is to actually be positive always. Now that, guys, is a discipline. But the good thing about thinking positive is you actually are not doubtful or afraid to think positive, because you're not actually doing anything. So being positive, being thinking positive only requires to actually believe that you are deserving to be better, that you are deserving to be this person you want to become. And that is the only roadblock that I had come across with being positive, is thinking to myself, David, do I actually believe the words I say? Do I actually think I'll become successful? Do I actually think I'm a confident person? Like, sure, saying the words are easy. I could say any words I want, but do I actually believe in it? But the thing is, guys, our mind can actually not determine if the things we say are real or not. What do I mean by that? If you randomly say you hate yourself, your mind cannot determine if you're actually joking or being for real. So this will help you get over the mental hurdle of, well, I'm not insincere, because you don't have to be sincere. By just saying it, by just saying I'm a confident person, by just saying I am someone who's not scared of the challenges the world has to hit me with, you will some way be affected by that positivity. And over time, that will compound. Right? Obviously, saying it once won't solve your issue of being scared or doubtful, but saying it once may send chills down your spine. And that is a progress, or the process of reinventing your subconscious mind to think in a better way. So it does take time, but just know the words you say don't have to be sincere for your mind to be tricked, which is why it's so important that we have to also be careful with what we say. Because we could be joking one day and say, like, you know what, today I'm just a bit lazy. And that may be a joke on our part, but our subconscious mind cannot determine if we are joking or not. So it does affect us. And by saying that, it certainly had sent chills down my spine. So this just goes to show, guys, we don't have to be sincere. We don't have to feel sincere to be and talk positive. We just have to say it. We just have to say it, and eventually this leads down to reprogramming our subconscious mind. So exactly what can we do after we had been speaking in a positive way by thinking positively? Well, I'll come back to that in a few hours, because now I'm going to get some food, but I'll be sure to let you guys know exactly what next steps you guys can take after you have been spending weeks and months just being positive, thinking positive, and thinking you are good enough and telling you are good enough. But till then, I'll see you guys soon. So, guys, 2 hours had passed and I left my phone downstairs, so I'm not gonna go get it. But I have been working on my project. My mind is a bit fuzzy now, so I think it's a good time to take this opportunity to talk about what is the next step we should take after positive self reinforcement. How can we overcome doubt after we had been speaking good shit about ourselves for quite a while? Now, the thing is, after we had transitioned from negative self talk to more positive self talk, it will be much easier for us to act. However, the only thing stopping us from actually acting on what we believe is because we still have the bad routines in place. We still have the old behaviors in place. You see, when I transferred my bad negative self talk to positive self talk, I waked up every morning reading my goals, going to bed, reading my goals. You see, all this had planted a subconscious seed in my mind that I can do it. However, I didn't act still because I still filled my day with the bad routines. I still sat on the couch and watched TV. I still overate. I still did all these bad habits that prevented me from actually acting on my belief. You see, we can believe something, but if we don't act in the end, that is merely a belief, that is merely a dream. We are pretty much daydreaming. So, To overcome doubt, the first thing you should take is to reinforce positive self-talk. And after a while, the negativity might fade away to a degree where you start to act. But if you don't spare some time in your day to act on what you believe, then you simply won't change the fact that you're not going to improve. You're not going to change the fact that your life is still going to be the same, because the only thing to fix doubt is to act and face it. But sometimes we are too scared, which is why positive self talk will plant a seed in your mind that you are possible, to buy you some time essentially. But that time has to be put into work. If not, then you're just wasting time once again. And I do believe positive self talk does work, but if you're only relying on positive self talk, then you're pretty much just manifesting. And I don't believe in manifestation, because the sole definition, I think, of manifestation, in my opinion, right, not the actual definition, but in my opinion, is to sit and wish for your life to change. And honestly, guys, I have been sitting on my ass for 16 years for my life to be different, and nothing was given to me until I decided to get off my ass and start putting my belief into work. Start actually following through with the belief I was telling myself. If I told myself I was an entrepreneur, well, I better go out and do something about it. If I told myself I was fit and healthy, well, I better go to the gym and lift some weights. But we simply can't sit here and dream about it and just keep on lying to yourself. It does work, it will make us feel better, but that feeling, the time we buy, is for us to put that then into action. And that will cure your doubt. That will stop you from being afraid of doing the things that you were first doubtful of. That being said, guys, at the moment, I'm going to probably do some stretching, relax my mind, untangle my mind, because at the moment, I definitely feel my mind in a jumble mess. And I guess this is the first time actually in a while that I actually experienced mental fatigue. Now, quite honestly, I had been sitting in front of my laptop just coding, doing the same thing for 5 hours. So it's no surprise that my mind is a bit sluggish, is a bit tired. So I'm gonna do that, relax a bit, maybe like a 30-minute break, and I'll probably get back into work. But I think today I am done with coding. I'm gonna do some reading and see how my day goes from there. But that being said, I'll see you guys in another 3 hours, and hopefully I can come up with something else to share with you guys on the topic. But at the moment, it really is that simple, guys. Positive self-talk, if you are in a very dark place and you have absolutely no belief, and then action, use that time you buy for yourself and put it into action. Or if you're brave enough, if you're strong enough, if you believe enough, and I do believe everyone does have that courage, then just act, because action will diminish anything. But of course, if you're really scared to that point, if you have been beating down that low, then you may just have to take the baby steps. Hey, I take the baby steps. There's nothing to be ashamed of. If that's what you gotta do, then go do that. But just know action will triumph over anything. So I'll see you guys in a bit.
So guys, it is currently 6:30. Now I know it is pretty early than usual, which I am finishing off today. And that is because Sunday I do have to cook some chicken breast for next week. So that does take some time. And yeah, pretty much that is the only reason why I am recording now. And also, I hate to say it, but I haven't yet done my self-reflection, which I definitely should do before I sleep tonight. That is definitely the main goal of Sundays, because every Sunday or just any day of the week, it doesn't matter for you guys, but always have a day to prioritize and kind of reflect back how this week went, what you want to improve, and what you could have done better or what had went wrong. And honestly, just this self-reflection once a day or once a week, just for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, will do tremendously well for you. Not only does it keep you clear as to what you must do, but it also avoids the chance of you becoming complacent. Because always setting your aim a little bit higher than yesterday, than last week, will always push you to achieve better. And the dangerous thing about being too productive by working too much. And I know working too much can be a bad thing, but the downside of having a very busy schedule is sometimes you actually lose sight of what your long-term goals are. Sometimes you actually lose sight if the thing you are doing right now will serve you in the long term, or if the thing you're doing right now is even hard enough to challenge you to push to new heights. So self-reflection is important because it not only keeps you clear, but it also prepares you for the next week challenges. But of course, last week's self reflection, I had listed down a few things I want to do. First of them is definitely having a clear idea of at least one idea that I want to share with you guys to kind of educate myself also by making YouTube videos. And the second goal was to create better AI content and try to figure out how exactly I can get more views on them. And third of all was to research on sleep supplements. Now, obviously, out of those three, I didn't follow through with two goals because I realized that making AI content just wasn't my purpose, just wasn't my why. So this week, halfway through this week, I found my why, and I believe coding will be the vehicle that I can use to deliver my beliefs to the world, to show the world what my vision is and help and influence the world in that aspect. So I definitely wasn't able to follow through with two of my goals because I also had to drop down my research on sleep supplements, because my goal and my vision definitely ties into coding, and maybe I could develop a system or something that could help people with sleep, but that is just a part of my long-term vision and what my beliefs are. So everything all definitely ties into this skill that I must learn. Right? Definitely not master every single nuance, but just learn enough that can give me the opportunity to present my ideas to the world. So at the moment, I am definitely using a lot of my time to just focus on three goals. I guess the main issue I had with my life is just that I try to focus on too many things at once. Now, before I never was like this, but ever since I started my 30-day sprint, I had definitely took on a lot of new challenges onto my plate, and I definitely bit off more than I could chew. So my goal is just really want to be focusing on three tasks, because I feel like when you introduce more than three tasks into your life, you then become unproductive, right? You delegate too much of your work that you just can't stay focused and actually progress good enough in any of them. So the three tasks I want to focus on is to continue making YouTube videos. Obviously, that's a no-brainer because I'm not going to stop. But also just improving the information I provide to you guys through self-learning and through self-experience, and just trying my best to convey that through effective speaking that I will learn eventually. And second of all is to focus majority of my time on coding, learning how to code and learning how to develop softwares, etc., so then I can actually present my goals to the world. And third of all is to just keep my health in check, right? Keep my health in check, continue doing my bodybuilding regime. And hey, the worst case scenario, if my coding takes a long time to master, then hopefully I could build a good enough physique that I could maybe monetize some money through that way. But at the moment, those are my three goals, and I do just want to focus on them. So I do have a rough estimation of where my self-reflection will be. But then again, guys, writing it down and just thinking it through in your head is totally different, because the things we think are likely to be forgotten. So always write them down in paper. You're more easily to remember. And most importantly, next week, if you look back, you'll realize that maybe I have achieved my goals or not. You'll have something there to see. So write that shit down, because you're going to have a higher chance of remembering them. You're going to have a higher chance of actually delivering the action, and you're going to have a higher chance of actually living up to your word. That being said, this has been my weekend. I hope you guys had an amazing weekend, and I do hope you guys have learned something from this. But if not, like always, I'll be here for you guys tomorrow. But until then, good night.